Hello, hello, hello.
Our siblings, hello.
We are there. We are here.
Yeah, all of us, which is good.
Yes.
So, take
So
it
what?
away, Bill.
So we are. We were going to discuss today about Lucy Letby,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
the nurse,
how could you not?
and I know obviously what she's done is just. Yeah, I mean, you just can't comprehend what she's done. But what do we all think about the not coming out of a cell to be sentenced, and they want
I
to
think
change the
that's
law?
absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah, but they want to change the law, so they're forcing people to be brought out of their cell, or they're forced to hear the witness impact statements and things like that.
What's the point in them not being there for that though? Because it's not making an impact then, is it?
Because as it stands under current law, they can't be forced because it's against their human rights.
Oh, what about the people going with it though?
I know. Well, I think that it would be nice to think that you can just drag people out of their cells because she deserves to be dragged out of her cell
Yeah.
and brought to court. Of course she does. But realistically, there are all sorts of issues with that. You don't want other officers being hurt in the process. You know, someone's got to go in there, wrap her up, and drag her out. So, I mean, what did make me laugh was when they turned around and they said, well, what we could do is we could put time on their sentence if they don't come out. Well, that's fine. If you're 20 and you've been given a 20-year sentence and
Yeah.
you'll be out when you're 40, but like when you're being told that you're never going to see the light of day again, what is the point of adding? What do you do? Turn around and say, I don't know what the answer is there.
Well,
Really.
yeah, because she's been given 14 life sentences, so it's not exactly going to be a.
Yeah.
But they're talking about putting a speaker system in the cells.
Well, that would work.
So
That would work.
even if they refuse to come out,
Yeah.
they can't get away from hearing the what's being said in the courtroom above them.
Yeah. I mean, the whole
Yeah.
human rights thing. I think you give up your human rights when you do something so disgusting.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, and obviously, because there's been so much, hasn't there, in the news about if she suffered the death penalty, should we bring the death penalty back for someone like her? And I can always remember having these discussions with Mum because I was like, for things like this, for crimes that heinous, that you just can't comprehend how somebody could do such a thing, then they should lose their lives by that. And I can always remember Mum saying no, because when they're in prison for the rest of their lives, you never know who's on the other side of the door, and the other inmates will make their lives hell and stuff like that. But I think I kind of see where Mum's coming from now, because she's never hopefully she'll know she's never going to be outside again, despite the fact she might have a tiny cell window hopefully to see out of.
Yeah.
She doesn't know what's on the other side of the cell door. She doesn't know what she's going to face with, and there probably is some sort of, to coin a term, honor amongst thieves, and the other inmates are not going to take kindly to somebody who has just murdered and attempted to murder a load of innocent newborn, premature babies.
Yeah, she is going to live the most miserable existence you can think of.
Yeah.
And I mean, I said to Mum yesterday, I said, I'll give it 6 months and she'll be dead.
Yeah. Well, that wouldn't surprise me if she doesn't commit suicide. I think she'll commit suicide more than anything else, But I can imagine she'll be at high risk for that as well. So she'll be on a kind of almost like a one-to-one type watching. I mean, can you imagine that as well? Even being in prison, you can't be by yourself because you've got an officer watching you all the time in case you commit suicide.
Yeah, you're in a prison in prison.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't even stand on the landing and have a chat to the other inmate.
But I was just reading an article, right, that Lucy Letby's friends refuse to believe she's guilty.
Yeah, I read
don't
that
understand
as well. Yeah.
And they're standing by her and they're going to appeal. And I'm just thinking to myself,
appeal what?
what is it? What is it that you see that we all don't see.
No. And when you're reading through the bits and pieces of evidence that they've released from the case, from the trial now, it was awful. I mean, she tantamount. No, I don't know, but she was saying things like she did these things because she fancied one of the doctors, and she did it at times when she thought this doctor might come rushing to the hospital. Like, the baby didn't die at this rate when she was away, and then she came back, whether she was on holiday or what, and then baby started dying again. You know, aren't these things just too big of coincidences to ignore?
Yeah, and then when you watch her police interview, it's just like she just you could see her sitting there. She hasn't got a care in the world.
No.
If you was innocent, you'd be animated. You'd be, what on earth? I didn't do this. Blah blah blah. She just sits there and just takes what's coming.
If being accused of something like that, and knowing that you haven't done it, you'd literally be like, you'd be pulling your hair out, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's just sitting there and she speaks very monotone and
to just sit there and just be like yes, no, and then like answering questions and that, it looked like she just, and then to not come out of your cell for any of the hearing, it just goes to show, that you just don't give a monkeys.
No, so disrespectful.
No.
You just don't care. But I mean, there's obviously something wrong with her. She's obviously not.
Oh, no, she's a full ticket.
Obviously not very well.
And there's more.
Do you know what I mean?
There's bound to be more that they can't pin her to.
Yeah. Who was the first nurse years ago? Didn't they call her the Angel of Death? It was like in the 80s or the early 90s. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Let's see. How many babies did she?
I don't know.
But I know she got. So she got done an attempted 6, wasn't it?
An attempt to murder 3.
Yeah, I could just saying that out loud. I don't understand.
No.
I just don't get it.
You've got to have some kind of. There's got to be. Like, what kind of childhood did she have? Has anybody? Something's obviously happened to her. Something's gone seriously wrong.
But by all accounts I've read about it, she had like the perfect childhood. Mum and Dad are not divorced; they're married. She had a good.
She did,
Right.
and they were there. Her parents all the way to the trial.
Yeah.
But because I read in the papers that they thought it was kind of like a show of solidarity, that the parents didn't turn up for the sentencing either, did they? And the impact statements from the victims, and they were smiling at her with empathy, I suppose, to their daughter, because they still loved her. But I don't know, how would you deal with that as a parent?
Imagine being a parent, I know, and knowing that your baby,
But I think there comes a point when you've got to realise that, look, she did this.
Yeah.
And now we've got to deal with it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you ain't got to like her, you ain't got to want to be around her.
No.
But you still love her.
Yeah.
It don't just go away overnight. But I mean, saying that, I don't know. I mean, if one of my kids turned around and said to me, "I've just killed 7 babies," I don't know. I'm sure I could pretty distance myself pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, definitely.
You know, I don't. But I just don't get it. And it was going on for years. And then the nurse that was told, "Look, I think something's going on," by a doctor years ago, and she's like, "No, it's all good. It's all good."
Well, that's the other thing is why do you think that the management of the hospital didn't take any notice of all the doctors that said there's something going wrong here?
Yeah, I think it's because managers at hospitals are not medical professionals.
Well, no, but if you've got the top consultants at the hospital saying to you, there's something wrong, it's got something to do with this nurse, we need you to take some action with this, what's going on? And they totally told the doctors to go away, and as far as we're concerned, she's completely innocent, and you need to write her a letter of apology.
Oh yeah, that was disgusting. That was.
So why?
That was. I mean, look, only she can answer that.
Reputation's got a lot to do with it, I reckon.
But I just go on. Sorry, Claire. Go on.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of people, especially people like Dr. Shola, coming out and saying they think it was because she got away with it because she was white. I've seen people turn around and say that it's probably because the managers were so fixated on targets and stuff like that, which I think is probably more than likely.
Yeah, I think that's probably more to do with it than skin colour.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was more like it was like that trust has got certain targets to meet from a government level, and that if they don't meet these targets, they don't get any money. And it was almost like a too far-fetched to think about. The nurse was causing all these deaths, and it was like, stop it, you're picking on her, sort of thing. So I think those are the reasons why they probably turned a blind eye to it more than anything. But they're going to have to come and face their own justice.
But the sad thing is, if they'd have listened to that doctor, I mean, I know baby still would have died, but it would have only been maybe 2.
Well, two's too many.
Two's too many. But
it certainly would have been a lot less than tragically happened.
But she was injecting milk into them and sugar and like I just obviously I can't think like her because I'm not like her. But
this is the thing.
I'm
thinking, like, at what point when you pick up the syringe and you think, I know this is going to kill this baby. Then you put the syringe to the arm, ankle, whatever it might be, wrist, wherever she's injecting it, and then you think, I know this is going to kill. At what? I can't.
No,
at what point do you think she thinks I shouldn't?
Yeah.
She didn't think that.
This is okay.
I mean, listening to the families. One of the families said when the baby was frothing at the mouth, they come running in. She's standing by the bedside, and she told she with a smirk on her face. She said, "Trust me, I'm a nurse. I know what I'm doing."
I know.
I just think that you just there's a category of evil people, and that's just like I think that's far gone psychopathy. I think that's just pure evil.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Like, evil personified. That is just through and through evil.
There doesn't seem to be a punishment.
Crime.
Enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I just.
What do you do? We haven't got the death penalty in this country, so that's not going to happen. I mean, but somebody will start. I mean, really, for me, if she spent the rest of her life in solitary confinement, so she didn't have access to the outside world, she didn't have access to, a television and arts and craft classes and stuff like that, maybe that would be a suitable punishment. But you can guarantee that somebody would come past and say, well, that goes against her human rights. Well, she shouldn't have any human rights.
No, I feel like Emma said. I think you should forfeit them as soon as you do something like
that. Yeah, you do really. I mean, she'll be an amazing case study for someone, because I don't think anybody. I read something somewhere where the police said she showed no outward signs of being psychotic in any way at all. There was nothing that you would look at her and think, well, that could, she's a good case in point for somebody who would be a psychopath, or a narcissist, or this or that or the other. And she just didn't show those signs.
I mean, she was really sad, but she would look after her friends' kids sometimes over weekends, overnight, and you think to yourself, "Oh, Jesus Christ!" I imagine finding out what she's done now.
I know.
And then,
they don't believe it, do they?
It's just like, wow, unbelievable. But this whole human rights thing, I think it's crazy. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, and now we're trying to pull out of it, but that's not to do with things like this. That's to do with this immigration.
Yeah.
So they're more worried about removing the Court of European or whatever it's called, the Human Rights Court, for that than things like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's that they've got. It seems to have. Everyone seems to have their priorities.
Yeah.
And reasons.
If you're going to do something, if you're going to act like an animal, then be treated like one.
Yeah. Well, that's why they've bunged her with Rose West.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there has to be some form of human rights, because we were just talking about what's that man called recently?
What's his name? Andrew Malkinson.
Right. I mean, like, if we didn't have, if we weren't part of the convention on human rights, where would he be? You know, I mean, he wouldn't have a leg to stand on when it came to sort of going back to the government and saying like he was innocent. You know, and he was innocent really. How many years ago?
Well, he spent 18 years in prison as a total.
Yeah.
But they knew he was innocent 13 years ago.
Right. I mean, I hope he wipes the floor with the government.
So, but what they were saying was, with our justice system and prisons and stuff like that, now they've scrapped that bed and board thing. That's no more. That doesn't matter to anyone anymore. And but he can only be awarded a maximum of £1 million. Right, even if he spent 50 years in prison, he can only be awarded a maximum of £1 million. But what barrister or lawyer was saying on TalkSport is, but that doesn't preclude him from from having a claim or suing them after that.
Right.
And with the amount of publicity that he's got and the evidence that's now come out, there is no way on earth that he would lose.
No.
So that's why now it's gone to I think they've gone to some sort of mediation where the government are saying, look, we're not going to win this if it goes to court, so we're better off just biting the bullet and putting our hand in our pocket and giving him a lump sum of whatever it may be, but he's not allowed to discuss what it is. Like they'll put some sort of clause in where you're not allowed to say how much you got.
Yeah, what you
got. We're just going to give you this money and you've got to sign this and you've got to go away quietly and live your life.
Yeah.
And that'll be it.
I want to know what happened 13 years ago and who decided to conceal evidence that would have released him from prison.
Well, it was the CPS and the police.
Was it really?
Yeah. It was the lead prosecutor at the CPS at that time, 18 years ago, who I think has died since then. So there's nothing that can be sort of done there. But also within the Met Police, there was certain senior officers and certain detectives that got the same information.
Yeah.
But they liked him so much for this that they just decided to just leave it.
Yeah.
Because they knew then if they turned around and said, "Oh, we got it wrong," then it would have been.
I mean, how disgusting is that? That's just, it's incomprehensible, isn't it? That these people in power have so much power that they can keep you in prison for all those years, knowing full well that you haven't done anything wrong.
That's terrifying. Like I watched a program about completely different, but there are thousands of people that are just waiting to get out. They're innocent and they just can't get the help they need.
Yeah, they're just rotting away because they don't have the funds. They don't have the and they've got something like that called the Innocence Project, where people write to them and say, look, can you pro bono? They help them out and stuff like that, but they can only deal with so many.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's only so many people, and they tend to take the ones that are the more serious, like people that are on death row.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of people that have been exonerated that have been on death row is unbelievable.
Yeah.
You're just killing innocent people.
Yeah, that's incredible, isn't it? Really.
That's right.
You're just killing innocent people, and they don't feel like they're killing us because all someone's doing is flipping a switch.
Yeah.
It's not like they're physically. But I mean, I don't know if I'd like taking a bit of a U-turn, but I don't know if any of you two have heard about a case that happened where 4 university kids were murdered on campus in America.
I don't know.
They're calling it the Idaho 4, and what it was is these 3 girls and a boy were sharing a house, and someone broke in the middle of the night and murdered all of them. And they after so many weeks, days, they found the person that done it, and it was someone that went to a neighbouring university, a kid who was taking like the profilers, like crime profiler.
Yeah.
Like he was majoring in that in university.
Oh,
and he became I think he became so obsessed with murder that he put it to the test. He wanted to see if he could murder and get away with it. So but where he is, we're talking about death sentences and stuff like that. Where he is, and they're talking about bringing back the firing squad.
Oh really?
Yeah. So where is
for him? In Idaho in America. They're talking about bringing back the firing squad for this case.
God.
And you just think that some places, I mean, for how America is and how forward thinking it is in things like military and technology and stuff like that, but then when it comes to things like that, they're going back to the start, like they're going back like 200 years.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what they could do? It's just ban guns.
But there's more guns in America than there are people. That's never going to happen.
I'll never get my head around that. I'll never get my head around that after everything that's gone on, bullshit, this, that, and the other. They're still just allowed to go out and buy a bloody gun. It don't make sense.
It's because of their amendments, their constitution.
Well, I mean, we've got knives. You know, I mean, what's going on here with knife crime? I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
But it's happening so often they just don't report it anymore.
No, that's right.
And then you ask Sadiq Khan about when he's been interviewed, and they say, "What are you doing about knife crime?" And he says, "Under control. Knife crime's not a problem in London."
Yeah.
And you
Can
think
I
it's
change subjects very quickly, and then maybe we can talk about it another time. Talking about the air in London, it's right getting up my nose.
yeah. See, when me and you, it's different. Because Claire lives out of London, the things that he's bringing in, the implications that he's bringing in, I don't affect Claire.
I can't deal with those.
No, they don't affect me, but it still winds me up.
Oh yeah, it still winds you up. But I mean, like when he's talking about now, pay per mile to drive.
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
Like, in his do one in his 50 grand bulletproof Range Rover twat.
Yeah. But now they're building the Silvertown Bridge near Mum's house. Right? They're building called the Silvertown Bridge.
Right.
Right, and I don't know what it is to do with, but it's like they're talking about charging for it, and then they were. It was something the other day that he was saying about they're going to start charging for the Blackwall Tunnel.
I saw that. Yeah.
Right, to pay for this bridge.
Yeah. So this bridge, what, like a footbridge?
No, like a car traffic bridge. Do you know where Mum's house is? Right, you go around the back. There's always that bridge that was built that was never finished.
No.
Do you know, like if you go around where the Porsche showroom is?
Right. Yeah.
Right, and if you're going around, you drive under that bridge as if you're going towards Tesco, don't you?
Oh, is that what that bridge was?
That bridge was meant to go to Woolwich.
Oh, I never knew that.
Right, but then because if you drive up on the ramp, it's built halfway across and it just stops.
Right.
So, and that originally was meant to go to the other side, but now they're building it somewhere else around here, but they're calling it the Silvertown Bridge. So obviously, I'm assuming it starts in Silvertown.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's up by where that petrol station is that you and Emma used to work in.
Oh.
I think it's round by there.
Yeah.
But now, but to pay for that, he's going to charge people to use Blackwall Tunnel.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad thing to have another.
Sorry, go on. You both.
I always thought the same.
There's a bit of a delay. Well, who's going first?
Yeah. I always thought that the Dartford Bridge, when it was 50p, then it was £1, then it was £1.50, now it's £2.50. I thought that you were paying that toll until the bridge was paid for, but it just keeps going up and up and up.
When people honestly thought they were going to not charge you after that was done, are crazy, because how are they going to pay for the upkeep? It's got to be maintained. It's got to be it's got to be.
The thing is, I'll be interested to see what happens with ULEZ, because once it's brought in and people are paying it, and I don't think it matters really. I mean, any candidate is better than Sadiq Khan. Anybody surely has got to be better than him. But if they're all like, oh, we'll get rid of ULEZ if we get in, they won't get rid of it. I'd be really surprised if anybody coming in as a new mayor of London gets rid of ULEZ.
No, because it's the infrastructure's put in. They spent too much money on it.
Yeah.
But there was one woman that said that if she was to get in, that she would repurpose the cameras that are outside of central London and just keep the ULEZ where it was originally.
Yeah.
Which is around the ring of London, like central London.
Yeah.
Same as wherever it follows the congestion charge.
Yeah.
So, but because she was saying that the cameras that they've put elsewhere can be repurposed, i.e., speed cameras, average speed cameras, or whatever, CCTV cameras, whatever.
Yeah.
But But I mean, the way I look at it is he's saying, but you've got to pay £12.50 a day. So, but if it was to do with people's health, and it was that serious, you would say you cannot drive the car. It doesn't matter whether you pay or not.
No.
You cannot bring that car into London.
Just saying, I'm going to make the centre of London pedestrianised. You know, you can't
Yeah.
come in with a van.
Yeah.
In storage, or
So-
a car in
so-
storage.
So if I was a millionaire, a multi-millionaire, I could go out and buy 10 diesel chugging motors that kick out shit everywhere. But as long as I pay £12.50,
Yeah,
I can drive it straight past Buckingham Palace.
yeah, that's right.
And if it was that serious, and if it was that much of a health risk, then it would just be a total ban.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, but he's using this because he cocked up with TfL, Transport for London. He spent so much money, lost so much money, he needs to recoup it. I mean, Transport for London is like, what, 250 million in the red or whatever it was. They're so out of pocket.
Yeah,
And now he's got to get that back.
yeah, he's got to get
What
money
about the
from
people who
somewhere.
can't afford cars that are ULEZ compliant? What happens?
Well, he says he's going to give you £2,000 for a scrappage scheme. But what I must say though is that a lot of people think that what he's trying to say is that you've all got to go and buy electric cars. That's not what they're saying, because you can buy a ULEZ compliant car for about £4,000. But if your car that you've got at the moment is only worth £800, like let's say they give you £2,000, you've got to find another £2,000.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Who's got
yeah.
that just floating about? Who's got
That's
two
what
grand? No one.
That's what I mean. And you look at an electric car and you're talking 35, 45, depends. I mean, if you buy a Nissan or a Ford, you're talking between 35 and 40 grand. And then you're looking at people saying, oh, like Teslas, and it's up to 100 grand.
So what is it that your emissions have to be below a certain level? Is that what it's all about?
Yeah, there are levels, but and if you've got a petrol car, anything newer than a 2013
Yeah.
or 14, you're okay.
Okay.
And if you've got a diesel car,
Yeah.
it has to be newer than 2016
Okay. Right.
to be compliant.
Right. Okay.
No, I think the petrol is newer. I think it can be older than that because
Oh, okay. I know one of them's older and one of them's younger. I'm not sure which way around it goes.
I'm sure it can be. I'm sure the petrol cars can be newer than that because if that's the case, then I'd be screwed all over again because my car, when it's working, is a 2013. So
Yeah, see, because when Dad got rid of his Jag because of it, and then just recently when we've just found out that because he's registered disabled, he could have kept it till 2025.
Yeah.
So they're exempt till 2025. So but they didn't tell him that before. So all them people that got rid of their cars
Yeah.
are now being told, oh, if you'd have kept it, you could have had it till 2025.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And but with that scrappage scheme, I was just listening on LBC. The website keeps crashing, and then it's not as simple as just getting the £2,000. You've got to answer a barrage of questions, and then at the end of it, it's not guaranteed. You might get turned down,
Yeah.
and then you've got to appeal it. And the guy on the radio was saying it's a 24-day appeal. And he said, but when you're a plumber and you're trying to find a new van, and you've got jobs that you need to get to, you can't afford to wait nearly a month for an answer.
No.
You need to go out and get.
Easy, were they? Let's be honest.
No, but I just think that he's ballsed up so bad that he just can't go back now. He's steamed so far forward that to do a U-turn on anything, A, would be embarrassing, and B, he just doesn't seem like the bloke that could turn around and go, do you know what, I messed up, I made a mistake. I need to sort this out. He's so far forward now.
Yeah. That's right.
And I know he's talking about people dying, but I mean, there's been one case of a young kid that died, and the coroner put it down to air quality,
Yeah.
which is an absolute tragedy. But it's one person in, I don't know, the last 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
And then when you say to him, but what are you doing about the kids that are getting stabbed on the street corners, 3 a night, 4 a day?
That's right. He's got nothing to say.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
no
you've
problem,
got there's no issue.
Maybe we should
But-
have saved this subject for another podcast because I could talk about this for hours.
Oh, do you know what? I've got ammunition on this one. He's called people like ULEZ protesters. He's calling them Nazis and COVID deniers and vaccine deniers and all that. Do you think yourself, mate? You're off your rocker.
Yeah, he is.
It's just you just messed up, and that is it. Simple as that. You've ballsed up, and now you're looking for a group to blame.
Well, I think, like Emma said, just save this for another time because we've gone all around the houses again.
I know.
and we
Sorry.
won't
Do you know what?
do
Because
that,
I don't know how we got. How did we get onto that? Just talking about the mayor. How did we get onto that?
But yeah, Billy, just edit this bit out because I'm just going to talk to you for a minute, okay? I'll just stop it.
Well, if you let me end the recording, we can still talk.
Yeah, go on then, end it. Then I just want to talk to you.
And then I'll just edit it.
Okay.